Welcome to Bow Ties, it's sometimes called myself, Ashley and Ed. Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Ash. How are you this Thursday evening? It's a bit of a strange one for us doing a Thursday, but we
Yeah,
like to mix it up sometimes.
we do. Well, this evening we're here to talk about Mr. David Lynch, your favorite director, Edward. I think I
Yeah.
can be. I think I can go as far as to say that. And
Yes, without a doubt.
and to be fair, you've made no, you didn't make me actually. I did watch Mulholland Drive, and there's lots of stuff I need to watch of his. And in preparation for this, I was thinking, what was Mulholland Drive about again? I can't really remember. No, but I remember at the time I was very impressed with it. But it's yeah, I'm now confused as to what my memory of the storyline is, and so on and so forth. But maybe even if I watched it yesterday, I'd probably be the same. So, uh, with that in mind, Ed, I think really I just want to hand straight over to you, my friend, because I know you love his work, and it feels only right to do so. Over to
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, usually when a celebrity passes away, it's sad, but I feel sad for the family because what we as fans like still exists. And it's a family who'll miss them every day. David Lynch, I actually got very, very sad when he passed away on the 15th of January this year because, as Ash has said, he's been a big, big influence on my life, my way of thinking for the last probably 35 years or so. I'd say he was as influential on a building block on my worldview as Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred were in Doctor Who. He just sort of came along at the right time. He was a director like no other. I think I said this when we did the Mulholland Drive. No, but there never has been another David Lynch. There never will be another David Lynch. There are people that are avant-garde directors, but there's something about him. It's not just artistic pretension. There's a lot of humor in there, a lot of joy in there, a lot of love in there. The man himself was a true one-off, and I mean, throughout lockdown, he used to do his weather reports, and he used to do his daily number of the day as well. If you haven't seen them on YouTube, just look them up. It's literally just him giving the weather report, or literally him just picking a number out, and says today's number is 24. Tomorrow's will be let's tune in and find out. And he was just a genuinely entertaining man. 10 feature films. Some you, he is a Marmite was he was a Marmite director. I think he's sort of like whether you like him or you don't like his work, you can't ignore him and you cannot ignore his influence, not only on film and television, but on the arts world in general. I mean, there's not many directors that have had a phrase coined after them. If you say to someone, Ash, if that film was Lynchian, they'll know what you mean. They'll know it's slightly off kilter, that it's slightly dreamlike and a bit odd and out there. So the man has had a word, a term named after him. Short films. He started off as an artist, and his films, generally speaking, are like paintings that you watch. Well, you said you couldn't remember Mulholland Drive. I'm quite glad, really, because I think if you watched it again, you probably would see a completely different film. And this is it. You and I could look at a painting in an art gallery, and we'd get a different story from that painting. Lynch's films, especially his later ones, were films that you felt rather than intellectually followed a narrative. They gave you a certain feeling when you were watching them. And as I said, nobody else can make, has, or I don't think anyone else will make films like he made. A couple of yeah, he's known as an avant-garde art house director, but he had a couple of flirtations in mainstream. I mean, The Elephant Man was nominated for Oscars back in the early 80s. He directed the original Dune, which was unfortunately was a flop, but he wasn't given full creative control. He was working for the studio. It was a bit like when Kubrick did Spartacus. It was a studio picture that they were hired to do rather than a labor of love. Um, the he really started to put his own stamp on things cinematic wise. The term Lynchian sort of came about with his film 86 film Blue Velvet, which is has got all the really the tropes that you'd establish him for it. You've got the small town that is rotten, that looks like apple pie America, but it's rotten beneath the surface. Which he went on to explore at a much deeper in his phenomenal television series written with Mark Frost, Twin Peaks. It's, apple pie America. Everyone's got a nasty little secret that they want to keep, but everyone's putting on a happy face because yay, we're American. And he really did sort of tap into that sort of at the time zeitgeist of let's look at our past, but let's take the rose tinted glasses off. Were the 50s really as brilliant as everyone said? No, they weren't. Of course they weren't. It was a horrible time for a lot of people. Twin Peaks TV series like no other at the time. It almost set the template for the modern day Netflix generation of television with amazing sort of filmic production values, episodic storytelling, not just Monster of the Week, where you really had to throw yourself into it. I think now if it came out now, it probably would all be dropped on Netflix or Apple TV in one go, and you could just follow it at your own pace. But for me, the ultimate murder mystery. Lynch never wanted you to find out who the killer was in it. It's one of those how long, but it's one of those how long can you string an audience along for, a mainstream audience along for? It might be all right in a 2 hour film like Mulholland Drive, but a mainstream program with a mainstream audience who doesn't get what he's doing, maybe not. I think really, but if you've got a murder mystery, you need to solve. It needs to be solved. But yeah, axed after 25, after 2 seasons, axed before its time, but came back 25 years later. And in the very last episode, Laura Palmer says to Dale Cooper, "I'll see you again in 25 years." And the story carried on literally in time 25 years later in 2017. The 2017 Twin Peaks was his vision. It was completely no interference from any studio. It was like he'd splurged his brain onto film, and you were getting the pure sort of Lynchian experience on prime time TV. And I think really the generation that grew up with him was ready for it. I don't think he'd have got away with doing that in the 90s. I think in 2017 he got away with it. It was critically acclaimed, posed probably more questions than answers, but that's what we want. But I will miss his work. He hadn't done a feature film since 2006, but he was active. He did shorts on his website. As I said, he was on YouTube all the time, coming up with different ideas. I will miss the one-offness of the man. I will miss what he brought to cinema and what he personally brought to me as a human being, making you realize that what you're spoon-fed isn't necessarily the truth. To think, to use your brain, to look a bit deeper, to just see the world in a different way. Yeah, a complete one-off.
Ed, that is a wonderful summary and tribute. Nothing else that can be said. We've been Bow Ties and Sometimes Cool. Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
A candy-colored clown they call the Sandman tiptoes to my room every night, just to sprinkle stardust and to whisper, "Go to sleep, everything is all right." I close my eyes